Hello, Miss. My name is Danath, and in today's presentation for our international business class, I'm going to talk about one of the most significant free trade agreement in the world, and it's called the North American Free Trade Agreement. During this time, we are going to discuss some fundamental factors about this agreement, including the introduction to the NAFTA, member states of the agreement. Along with that, we are going to explore briefly about the historical development of this agreement, as well as its goals since establishment. Especially, we will dive more deeply in Canada's development in NAFTA and how Canada had involved in this important agreement. We also have a chance to understand some common praises as well as some common criticisms about NAFTA. Firstly, about introduction to NAFTA. NAFTA stands for the North American Free Trade Agreement between the United States, Mexico, and Canada that came into effect on January 1st, 1994. It was built on the success of the earlier Canada-US Free Trade Agreement, CUSTA, and complements the WTO agreements by making deeper commitments in some key areas, including agriculture or manufacture. With the coming into force of NAFTA, the world's largest free trade area was formed in North America. The agreement has helped increase the standard of living for the middle class in all the three countries. The NAFTA region produced goods and services valued at more than $20 trillion per every year. All the member states comprise a total area of about 22 million square kilometers and about 500 million people. This is about 14.5% of the habitable area around the world and about 6.4% of the world population. Canada, US, and Mexico together generate about 28% of the world gross domestic product. Firstly, we are going to talk about the member states of NAFTA. NAFTA includes 3 member states. The first one is the United States, second one is Canada, and the third one is Mexico. The United States of America is primarily located in the North America. It was totally independent from Great Britain in July 4, 1776. It consists of 5 states, with the capital city is Washington, D.C. The New York City is the most populous city within the United States. The United States has the official language is English, and United States is one of the 8 members of the Group of 8. Canada is the second member of NAFTA. It is located in the northern part of the North America with 10 provinces. Canada was totally independent from the United Kingdom in July 1st, 1867. Canada is the world's second largest country by total area after Russia, and Canada has the capital city is Ottawa. Toronto, which is the city that we are living, is the largest metropolitan city in Canada. Canada is bilingual in English and French, and as the United States, Canada is a member of the Group of 8. Mexico is the last member of NAFTA. Mexico is located in southern portion of the North America. It was totally independent from Spain in September 16, 1810. Mexico City is the capital of this country. Mexico, unlike Canada or the United States, is still a developing country. And Mexico's official language is Spanish. Historical development of NAFTA. In 1980, Ronald Reagan was elected to be the President of the United States with the intention of creating a free trade agreement in North America. In 1986, Canadian Prime Minister Mulroney and President Reagan began negotiations for a free trade agreement. In 1988, an agreement was signed between the USA and Canada, and it was called CASTA. In 1989, this agreement went into effect on January 1st, and this stayed in effect until the NAFTA was signed. In 1990, Mexican President Salinas requested to create a free trade agreement with the United States. The current president of the United States was George W.H. Bush began negotiations for a free trade agreement between the two countries that would lower Mexican tariffs on the U.S. imports. Canada then joined the discussion for a three-way agreement. In 1992, NAFTA was signed by President Bush and his two counterparts, which were Canada and Mexico. In 1993, President Bill Clinton of the United States signed this agreement into law, and finally, in 1994, on January 1st, NAFTA entered full force. From NAFTA to USMCA. Between 1993 and 2019, the trade between the three members quadrupled from $290 billion to $1.23 trillion, and that boosted economic growth, profits, and jobs for all the three countries. It also lowered prices for consumers. Despite disadvantages, the United States, Mexico, and Canada renegotiated NAFTA on November 30, 2018. The new deal is called the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, or USMCA. The Trump administration wanted to lower the trade deficits between the United States and Mexico. The new deal changes NAFTA into 6 areas. The most important is that auto companies must manufacture at least 75% of the car's components in the USMCA trade zones. Next, we are going to move on to the stated objectives of NAFTA. According to Article 102 about the agreement, there are the 6 declared objectives of this treaty. First, is to eliminate the barriers to trade in and facilitate the cross-border movement of goods and services between the territories of the parties. Secondly, is to provide adequate and effective protection and enforcement of intellectual property rights in each party's territory. Thirdly, is to establish framework for further trilateral, regional, and multilateral cooperation to expand and enhance the benefits of this agreement. Fourthly, is to promote conditions of fair competition in the free trade area. The next thing is to create effective procedures for the implementation and application of this agreement for its joint administration and for the resolution of disputes. And finally, is to increase the substantially investment opportunities in the territories of the parties. In 2018, when the three countries started to renegotiate the NAFTA agreement, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau of Canada have said in Chicago that Canada would continue to engage in NAFTA talks, and he had expressed that one of the benefits of NAFTA is the stability that it provides in terms of investment and building supply chains that crisscross the border. And that's good for our economy. That is good for your economy. And it just makes a lot of sense. Canada's development with NAFTA. In 1979, when Ronald Reagan announced the idea of a North American free trade area in his candidacy for the presidency, Canada was first deeply worried of the US dominance and showed no interest in such a deal. However, in 1984, under Mulroney government, Canada joined the negotiations about a CUSA, or Canada-United States Free Trade Agreement. In 1990, when Mexico requested a free trade agreement with the US, Canada was not initially part of the talks, but the Mulroney government eventually chose to join. During 14 intense months of negotiation, Canada continued to demand an exemption for its cultural industries from the terms of the agreement as it had in the CUSA, to permit the government to continue to support industries such as music, film, and television through measures like content quotas and subsidies. And finally, NAFTA was successfully signed in the end of 1992. NAFTA had a major impact on the Canadian economy. In 2016, 77.8% of Canada's total merchandise exports were sent to its NAFTA parties. Since 1993, more than 5 million net jobs were created, and Canada's unemployment rate has decreased from 11.4% in 1993 to 7% in 2015. Next, we are going to talk about some common phrases, including some advantages and how the NAFTA has supported the three countries. Firstly, the NAFTA increased the FDI among the three countries. FDI stands for Foreign Direct Investment, and NAFTA boosted FDI because the companies know that the international law will safeguard their rights, and NAFTA reduced investor risk by guaranteeing that they will have the same legal rights as local investors. Through NAFTA, investors can make legal claims against the governments if it nationalizes the industry or takes their property by eminent domain. Secondly, NAFTA reduced the government spending. NAFTA allows firms in member countries to bid on all government contracts, and that created a level playing field for all the companies within the agreement's borders. It cut government's budget deficits by allowing more competition and lower cost bids. Thirdly, NAFTA created more jobs for the member countries. NAFTA has created a vibrant employment marketplace that allows a country to use the strength of the agreement to bolster existing talent and set the stage for future job growth. As Mexico's economy grows due to an increase in manufacturing and assembly positions, the country requires skilled laborers, high-tech equipment, and training that the US and Canada can supply. This sharing of knowledge increases employment opportunities across the continent. The next advantage of NAFTA is NAFTA increased economic growth among the three countries. NAFTA boosted the US economic growth by as much as 0.5% per year. The sectors that benefited the most were agriculture, automobiles, and services. NAFTA increased farm exports from the US to Mexico and Canada because it eliminated high tariffs from those countries. Most cars made from North America now have parts sourced from all the three countries because the increase in competitiveness allows the industry to fend off imports from some other countries, such as Japan. NAFTA lowered the prices of goods for all the three countries. Oil imports from Mexico cost less because NAFTA got rid of tariffs. That reduced the America's reliance on oil from the Middle East, and low-cost oil reduced the gas prices, which reduced the transportation cost, and food prices are lower in turn as well. And finally, NAFTA quadrupled trade among the three countries. NAFTA boosted trade by eliminating all the tariffs between the three countries. It also created agreement on international rights for businesses investors, and thus reduced the cost of commerce. It spurs investment and growth, especially for small businesses. However, NAFTA also has some common criticisms that should be taken into consideration. NAFTA caused loss in the US jobs. Because the labor is cheaper in Mexico, almost 90% manufacturing industry withdrew part of their production from the high-cost United States. The hardest hit states were California, New York, Michigan, and Texas. They had high concentration of the industry that moved blame to Mexico. This industry include motor vehicles, textiles, computers, and electrical appliances. Secondly, NAFTA make Mexico farmers put out of business. When NAFTA removed trade tariffs, companies exported corn and other grains to Mexico below cost. Rural Mexican farmers could not compete. And at the same time, Mexico reduced its subsidized to farmers, and most of those subsidies went to the Mexico's larger farms. And this change meant that many small Mexican farmers were put out of the business by highly subsidized American farmers. The next disadvantages of NAFTA is that it caused the Mexican environment become worse. In response to NAFTA competitive pressure, Mexican agribusiness used more fertilizers and other chemicals, costing about $36 billion per year in pollution. Rural farmers expanded into marginal land, resulting in deforestation at the rate of 630,000 hectares per year. And finally, NAFTA makes the maquiladoras workers exploited. Maquiladora is where the United States-owned companies employ Mexican workers near the border. And NAFTA expanded the maquiladora program by removing tariffs. They sharply assemble products for export back into the United States. However, the workers had no labor rights or health protection. In addition, the workdays stretched out about 12 hours or more per day, and a woman worker could even be forced to take a pregnancy test when applying for a job. And this is the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me. And these are some sources and references that I have used for my presentation today. If you want, you just take a look at it. And thank you for watching and for listening to my presentation, and hope that you enjoy it. Peace out.